I have lived several adventures, dangerous ones, in the US. The most dangerous one was when I drove from Houston, Texas, all the way to California. My car was not a brand new car. I used to drive. I was tensed when I drove, so I had pillows, blankets, to be comfortable. It looked like I was in my bed. Trucks. I didn't see many trucks. In fact, there was not much traffic from Texas to California. There was very little traffic. And I don't know how many miles there is between Texas and California. Maybe 3,000 kilometers, maybe more. I don't know. When I was in Texas, I used to eat in a Mexican restaurant. And taco lingua. I used to take taco lingua. I was alone. It was a very small restaurant, and I was always alone in there. And I stayed 1 year in Houston, not in the center of Houston, in the suburbs of Houston. It was a great restaurant. My boss was, her name was Dolores. She was a Mexican American, and she was really a nice lady. And her husband was Greek. So the contract was 1 year, and I made a lot of money in Houston, but I never saved anything. Well, when I arrived to California, I did not find full-time dancing jobs, so I lost a lot of money that way. I shared an apartment. First, I arrived to say, I slept in my car in front of a grocery store in El Paso. Can't remember which state that is, El Paso. I drove, after having taken a nap, I drove again. Through several states, and I drove a little fast, I guess, and the police gave me a fine. I was practically alone on the road. I tried to avoid the fine, but he did not, he didn't, he really wanted me to pay. Okay. In my life, I had only 2 fines driving too fast. That's all. I can tell you that now I don't want to have another one, and I drive slowly. To make my hair curly, I make a braid wet, and my hair was very long at the time, below my waist, and I knew there was a nightclub in San Diego. So I arrived to the nightclub about 10 o'clock at night, and before entering the nightclub, I opened my bread, and I didn't know that San Diego is very damp, very humid, and from my car to the nightclub, my hair got straight like a fork. I met a musician there who had known my Egyptian husband, and he had worked with him in Cairo, and anyway, afterwards, when the nightclub closed, I went to sleep in my car in a commercial area. There was only one car, mine. I brushed my teeth, and I slept, and at about 7 o'clock in the morning, the maintenance guy looked at me with big eyes. The toothpaste was showing. Well, it was a little bit. It was a couple of meters away from my car, but it showed white paste. So I drove to Orange. Well, it's a county, Orange County, and I met someone in a restaurant who had used belly dancers, but had just sold his restaurant. I found a couple of girls, and I shared an apartment with 2 of them. And I stayed. First, I slept in a motel, and it was expensive. And I had saved. I had saved some money. I was coming back from Paris, France, and I stayed almost 6 months in California. I worked a little here and there, and after I went back to Chicago. My ex-boss in Chicago had told me, "You will always have a job with me." There is a specific reason for that, which I won't tell. When I took gasoline before driving through the desert, there was one guy who talked to me. Can't remember what he said. I noticed that he had no immatriculation plate in front of his car. That made me very suspicious. And so I took gasoline, and before entering the desert, there were a few houses, and I was afraid he might follow me. So I went to hide behind those houses, and I stayed there over an hour, just in case he would follow me. So I went back on the road. I saw a little animal. I think it was a fennec. It was cute. It was small. It was right on the border. The road went through the desert. Can't remember which desert. The name of the desert I can't remember. I would have to look at the map. And I drove until the day came up, and I went to sleep in a motel. And motels are not don't have any stairways. They are right flat on the location. So I pushed the bed against the door, and I put glasses on the windows, on a little small window, glasses, and the thing where you put ashes when you smoke, just in case someone would try to get through the windows. I was always very careful. And afterwards I drove again, and I had a problem with my car, as it was steam coming out. But I had known this problem several times, so I knew what the problem was. I belonged to AAA. When you can call them, they help you. But there was no way I could call them. There was a field next to the road, and a young farmer, I asked the young farmer if he could call AAA, and I saw that there was something wrong in his eyes. I saw it in his eyes, that he had something wrong and bad. And he said, come with me, we will call AAA. And I didn't go into his car. So I drove slowly, and I found a garage, or what, how do you say in English? Well, to repair the problem. I found a garage, or mechanician. I have left the States over 25 years ago, and a language has to be spoken regularly. I write it, but I do not have the opportunity to speak English since I came back. So I'm losing my accent. My accent is getting heavier. So my car was repaired, and then I arrived to Chicago. I lived in a hotel for a while, and I went back. I shared also a hotel with a Turkish dancer. Then I went back to an apartment. I had lived in this building before, in a Greek quarter, and I took a smaller room because he had raised the rent, and so I stayed there a few years, and after a while, after a few years, well, I want to talk to my best friends, Ferouz and Aisha, who are my best friends. Aisha is a Greek American girl, and so we have worked together at least 10 years. And Ferouz found me on YouTube. I don't know how she did it, but she must have searched a long time, and she found me. Now we communicate through Facebook. She is a great girl. So is Aisha. I miss them. I miss them a lot. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, at least we can communicate with each other. Well, that will be the end of this vlog. And as usual, if you don't have watched until the end, I don't care. I'm used to it. Well, and for those who watched until the end, thank you. Take care, and until next time. Mickey. They don't have chocolate inside, they have peanuts. I can find them with chocolate. I would prefer them with chocolates, the M&Ms. They don't seem to exist in France.